Everyone, Stoner Man Houghton here. It is June 22nd, 2025. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Charles Tex Watson and his psychological evaluation. There you go, the Superior Court, the Center for Solving Problems, Charles Watson. The date on there is July 17th, 1971. And these are psychological evaluations. And I'm going to read to you some of this stuff here that I found. I found interesting. Not the whole thing. Now, whether or not he's telling his psych the truth or not is his suspect, but we'll see. So it says here from September 68 to December 68. This is what in general did you do at the ranch? Well, from September 68 to December 68, and I left for a month and a half with David Neal. Okay, no big deal. Now here, let's just start right here. Every morning he'd tell us what he wanted us to do that day. The last 3 weeks, he'd given us bennies to keep us awake, and I never did work or things anymore before the murders happened. Was he with you both times? This is at the Tate murders and at the LaBianca murders. Now, this is Tex Watson talking about Charles Manson. No, the first time, he just told us what to do. Okay. And we did it. The second time, he was, what does it say there? He was with us. He went in. He was with us. He went in and tied up the people and came back out and left in the car. When we got back to the ranch, his car was there for about 10 days. When I took some belladonna, I'd black in and out. Did the rest of them do that? I don't know. I wasn't with them until the time I got in the car. When I woke up, my whole body had a reddish tint and I felt sucked in. I haven't been able to eat right since. I'm still dry at the mouth. When did you go to jail in Texas? December 1969 until September 1970. My parents came to see me every other day. They brought a big grocery sack full of food I could keep down and I wouldn't have to spit. What time of night did you get out to the Tate house? I don't know what time except just nighttime. What time did you get to the Bianca house? Nighttime too. Charlie drove and drove. I was out a lot of the time, and with a commotion, I'd wake up. What about your cutting the telephone wires? We got over there. I was laying in her lap. She shook me and told me I was supposed to cut the telephone wires. I remember Linda handing the cutters, and I was cutting the first wires on the pole, and I cut all I could see and then climbed down the pole, though I don't remember climbing down. The next thing I knew, we were down at the bottom of the hill. We started, 2 girls and me and another girl in back. No words. Then we walked up to the fence. I crossed the fence. 2 girls got across. Then the other girl came across. And then the guy says, so? And then Tex says, all of a sudden, light started to shine on us. Either Katie or Sadie hollered at me, we've got to get them all, get him. So, says the the doctor, I had a gun and a knife in my hand. The car stopped and I just pulled the trigger. About 10 days later, I couldn't believe I'd done it. There was no hesitation. She said, get him, and I got him. No thought. I could just feel my body all sucked in like a monkey. No feeling at all. So, the next thing I knew, I was walking into the door of the house, and there Sadie was. Nothing happened for a little while. Then all of a sudden, people started coming into the other rooms to the effect of a man was coming after me. I looked. I had the gun in my hand. I shot around or at the person, and he fell on the floor. No more shells. That's interesting. No more shells. How did you feel then? I had no feeling. They'd shake me to get me going. Then I saw Katie stabbing and stabbing this guy, and I had a knife in my hand. And I did the same thing. The guy was all messed up. All of a sudden, Sadie hollered again. The second guy was real big, and she was stabbing him all over. And she was hollering for me, and I came over, and he fell outside the house. Interesting. He fell outside the house. I got over, and his body was totally messed up. I also hit him with the gun. That's interesting because he's saying here, first of all, he says up here, no more shells. No more shells. You shot Stephen Parent, what, 4 times? And then I think Jay Sebring twice. And then I think you shot Bartek Verkowski twice. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should have 1 bullet left. So he's saying no more shells. And then and this is another thing over here too. All of a sudden, Sadie hollered again. The second guy was real big, and she was stabbing him all over, and she was hollering for me, and I came over, and he fell outside the house. So if he falls, he fell outside the house in the bushes, right? And if you ran out of shells, then how could you have shot him at the doorway to cause that spray? And this is all of Texas telling the truth here to the doctor. So he's saying that he fell outside the house. Okay, so next thing I knew, let's go back here. So Texas says, next thing I knew, I was walking into the door of the house. Now, if he says he's walking into the front door of the house and there was Sadie, I thought he took a screen off and went in took the screen off and went into the house that way. But now he's saying I was walking into the door of the house and there was Sadie. Nothing happened for a little while. Then all of a sudden, people started coming into the other rooms. To the effect, a man was coming after me. That's probably Jay Sebring. I looked. I had the gun in my hand. I shot around. Or at the person, and he fell on the floor. No more shells. Now, even if he does shoot Vorkowski at the door, I don't think he runs out of shells. Because he's saying now, I shot around or at the person, and he fell on the floor. No more shells. Okay? Now, over here, it says that I came over and he fell outside the house after Sadie had yelled for him to get over there. All of a sudden, Katie was outside and had the woman on the lawn, and she was already dead. I just went over and just looked. Charlie told me over and over to make sure everybody was dead. And you made sure. Right. I did exactly what he said. Even though he doesn't blame Charlie for anything. Let's see here. Here's a little something here. As I understand it from the record, Linda Kasabian said that you were going to a house that they had been to before, that you knew the layout of the house, And for those of us in the car to do what he told us to do, how how did you feel about that? Had you actually been in the house before? And then Tex Watson answers, I'd been to the house before. I'd been in the front room. We've done some memory tests here. Do you remember what clothes you were wearing? The record has it that you had the change of clothing with you. That you were there, that there were 3 knives and a gun in the car. And he says, I was wearing Levi's, so I didn't have a change of clothing with me. I guess the girls brought those. They handed them to me and told me to change my clothes. Why? Because mine were all bloody. I guess there was a gun and a knife, and I had a pistol. I'd never shot a gun at the ranch, which is interesting because people say he actually has shot guns at the ranch. Do you remember how you felt when you told Miss Kasabian to wrap the knives and the gun in her shirt? And if you got stopped, to throw them out the window of the car? No, I didn't tell her that. The record says that when you got to the Tate house, you parked the car by the telephone pole and then climbed the pole and cut the telephone wires. And then after that, I guess you drove to the bottom of the hill in front of the Tate house and parked there. I was in the back seat and I got out of the back seat. Was it then that you and Linda, Sadie, and Katie started walking up the hill? Yes, I did. 2 girls in front and 1 was behind with me. All right, so this is all kind of interesting stuff here. Where the doctor goes, as again, as a matter of memory testing, what kind of rope did you have around your shoulder? I didn't have any rope around my shoulders. You know, they ask him, I walked into the front door of the house. All of a sudden, Sadie popped up from somewhere, bringing people into the room. I was blackening out, and then I was in the light, more black than light. Then right here, do you remember before you walked into the front door that you were cutting a screen horizontally and that later you removed the screen and entered through the window and that you told Linda to go back to the car? I didn't cut no screen. I didn't tell anybody to do anything during the whole night. Interesting. How did you feel when you were hitting gone on these fellows on the head with the revolver and stabbing them, as the record says? I was just hitting the body and stabbing him after he was already down on the ground and bleeding. Sadie kept stabbing him. So now he's saying that Sadie kept stabbing him, when Bugliosi says in an interview that he wasn't even sure that Sadie stabbed anybody. The record says Tex was angry at Susan for losing her knife. Answer, I don't know. The question, do you remember being annoyed or upset as Linda felt that you were because she had run to the bottom of the hill and hadn't stayed up at the Tate house while the murders were taking place? The record says that Linda started the car, but you told her to turn it off and to push off, and that although you were behind the driver's wheel, Linda steered while you changed your clothes. No, I didn't tell anybody to do anything. Do you remember driving to the house where Sadie and Katie washed the blood off? Yes. Do you remember what you were doing? We were just playing in the water over our faces, just playing with the water. Do you remember whether anything else happened? A man and a woman came out of a house. We told them we were getting a drink. I jumped under the wheel of the car and we took off. I wasn't driving too good. Someone said pull over and they started throwing clothes out the car. I drove into a gas station to go to the bathroom. I came back out and got in the front seat. The girls drove. Was it at this point that you told Linda to wipe the prints off the two knives that you had? No, I never did tell anybody anything. Do you remember throwing a revolver over the cliff? When I got in the car, the gun was still with SUC. What is that, SUC? But I never saw it after that. Charlie said the girls know what to do. The record says that you told Katie and Sadie to use the restrooms and wash themselves off better than they had done at the house where you were using the hose. No, I didn't tell them anything. How do you feel that you told Linda that you had taken $70 from someone in the Tate house? I didn't get any $70. Why would someone say you did? Do you think? I don't know why. Do you remember where you got the line, I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's work, which Linda said, you said in the presence of Charles Manson and two other girls that you said people, and that you said that, which Linda said you said in the presence of Charles Manson and two girls that you had said to people in the Tate house? I didn't say anything like that. I couldn't speak too good sometimes. Other times, okay. All right, we're going to leave it there. Oops. We're going to leave that there. There's a lot of stuff. Now, whether or not, Tex is actually telling the truth to the shrink, sometimes you like to fuck with your shrink. I get it. We won't know, but this is just kind of interesting how he says he ran out of bullets. The body does fall on the bushes in front of the house, which kind of what George is kind of saying, but he doesn't say that he shoots Vortek, though. He doesn't mention that, though. So you got to take what he says to the shrink with a grain of salt. All right, Starter Van Houten here. Just bringing you some Tex Watson psychological evaluation reports from 1971. Take care.